And it's that particular bit of when he took it there in 1296 that a lot of Scottish nationalists are, to be frank, very hung up on. And they imagine that the stone's history ended there. But of course the stone was then used to help at the coronation ceremonies of English kings and queens right up until 1603, when the Scots king became king of Great Britain. And then after 1707, after the Union of Parliaments, it was used to crown every king or queen of the United Kingdom. And so what I'm saying here is that the stone's meaning has changed through time. And for the Scottish nationalists to not understand how it's shifted, how the meaning has shifted from if you want to believe the story, from a biblical relic to an Irish symbol, to a Scottish symbol, to an English symbol, and then to a British symbol. Its meaning has grown. History and experience has vested a new meaning in the stone. Okay. So today the stone is invested with a wider British meaning that has come about from its very real history and the very real happenings and changes which have occurred in society and in these islands. And that wider meaning also has to be respected. Okay, the fact that this is now a British artifact, that this is now a British symbol, that the passage of time and history and events has now created more meaning in this symbol. And so its symbol now is something greater than what it was in 1296. It's something bigger. That's another way of looking at this. And that's the way that we look at it. So if you talk about returning the stone to Scotland after the coronation, you're missing that bigger British picture. You're saying that basically history stopped in 1296, and this is always now that it always has been somehow a Scottish stone. Well, I'm sure when James VI sat on it, he didn't go, "Oh, this should be returned." No, he was quite happy because he understood that he himself was vesting new meaning in it as well, because he was now using it to crown himself as King of Great Britain. So, there's a danger. If you just see the 1296 element of the Stone of Destiny, there's a danger that you're just simply missing the collective experience of all the British people that's happened in the intervening 700 years. So when we wrote our magazine here, Happy and Glorious, we touched upon this very briefly. And what we said was the removal of the Stone of Destiny from the coronation chair in 1996 desecrated a national monument, which is what the coronation chair is. It was built especially for the stone, so you desecrated the monument when you took the stone out. Now, the stone belongs with the chair, and if they're to be moved, and nothing against moving it, but if they're to be moved, move that monument together, Have 5 years of the throne and stone in Scotland. Have 5 years of the throne and stone in Northern Ireland. Have 5 years of the stone and throne in Wales. We're thinking about all of these things in that sense. We're not just falling for the usual Alex Salmond. Edward I came along and beat up the Scots in 1296, and we're still annoyed about it. No, you got to move along. You got to develop concepts as a consequence of the passage of time and experience. Anyway, Salmond was on a stupid thing yesterday. He said that if he had been First Minister still, he would have had the police stopping the stone moving out of Edinburgh Castle. Can you believe the divisiveness of that? But believe me, that's what these folk will get up to if they ever get their way. They will use these elements not for healing, not for bringing the country together, but for dividing the Scots against the English, just like it was 1296 again.